Welcome, dear viewers, once again in our weekly regular program brought to you by Mpumakapa Television in collaboration with Amaqhawe Ethu Foundation. Dear viewers, this program seeks to heighten our understanding about how best we can utilize the opportunities offered to us to off-ramp the cycle of poverty. Remember last week we had an honor to host Minister Stella Abrahams, who is responsible for the Department of Small Business Development. We know our viewers benefited a great deal in that program. Better so, she promised that she will come back to us after her program in Parliament, which is the budget vote. She did not divulge to us, but she's saying she's going to bring us even bigger news. We can't wait to host Stella Abrahams to share with us those bigger news. You see, dear viewers, today we bring you two gentlemen. Mr. Vuyani, we call him, I don't know if he likes this name, Mbona. We call him Mbona. The surname is Limba. And we bring another gentleman, Mr. Derek Hosh. Let me tell you the similarities between these two distinguished gentlemen. They've decided to defer anything that seeks to service them as individual. They've decided to say, I'm going to wait and defer any opportunity that seeks to assist me and my immediate family. I want to start serving the youth of South Africa. You see, these are the sacrifices that some of the South Africans are doing. These two gentlemen could have gone and knocked at any of these business South Africa and say, give me a job, I'm specializing in this, and they will be paid millions and millions of rands end of the year. But they decided, no, we will use our expertise in improving and enhancing the talent of our Black youth in South Africa. We hope you will enjoy this program tonight, dear viewers, together with the information that these two gentlemen will be bringing to us. I'm yours, Leonard Klaas, and I'm going to invite Mr. Vuyani Mbona, I love this name, Limba, to introduce himself. Over to you, Mr. Limba.
Thank you very much, Lennox. Umbona is my Sisiduko Sam, and I like that one. Uchaying with him low. Let me greet Amaqhawe Foundation and greet all the viewers at home, especially young people, as we celebrate Youth Month. June is the Youth Month, has been declared by our government. Thank you, Lennox.
Thank you very much. Oh, when you tell me Ngumbona is Duko, I know right now I'm not only talking to you, I'm talking to all those that came before you. It means our discussion is going to be so great because around you, they are there. Those that left before you are there and advising you all the way. Now let's go to Mr. Derek. Mr. Derek, please do introduce yourself. I hope you know, so it's to go, Mr. Derek. You can introduce yourself.
Good morning, Lennox. Good morning to the viewers. And my name is Derek Oshi, involved in athletics, come a long way with sports, and is very much involved. He's still involved with sports development right at the bottom on ground zero with kids in the township and in the northern areas. So I will be dealing and leading the discussion around how can we change the environment around us.
Oh, thank you very much. This is music to our ears, Mr. Derek. Let's just dive into the program. But first, before we do that, uh, people would like to know, who are these people? What is their authority? When did they do this? When did they start? You see, we know sport is one of the catalysts that can be responsible to off-ramp the youth of South Africa out of poverty. You don't need me to remind you of that. You know the likes of Sia, you know the likes of Zimbini, you know the likes of this young man who was the high jumper. There's so many more names. And right now, recently in South Africa, we were crowned the champions. We're champions in cricket. It's not for me to tell you who was the captain of the side. So we have seen how the sport has off-ramped these many youths to have the destiny into their own hands. Let's start with you, Mr. Derek. What attracted you into doing this great job that you're doing? When did it start for you?
Lennox, 1979, I was the last time I represented Eastern Province Athletics at the non-racial, national championships in Durban at Curry's Fountain. Now, Curry's Fountain is renowned for being one of the main attractions in non-racial sport, because that is where they also played in those years in the 60s and 70s, where they played soccer. The old federation guys, under the banner of Trikamji and all the guys from Sekos. So in 1979, after I came back, I decided, look, it's no use. I'm trying to create a position for myself. I will never get first place in athletics. So I would rather put my weight into coaching. And that is where I went into. I started, a club by the name of Atlantic Aces. You can see from the badge I'm still wearing. In 1981, we started the club, and we struggled to make ends meet, but we managed to organize the club. In those years, it was very tough to organize sport, especially community-based sport. So people like Kenneth and Mackay, Alan Zinn, Raymond Uren, those are the guys that inspired me to come on board and to help to motivate and to organize the youth. I just spoke to somebody earlier today, and they said to me, Zola Yeye is going to come here next week to come and start a Legends sort of a podcast. And I said, yeah, Zola Yeye was also involved with the formation of the club called Golden Eagles. So all these events inspired me and attracted me to come and hand myself in to help to push the wagon forward and to get our youth involved into sport. And as you know me, Lennox, I've been involved in many phases of the apartheid struggle with Sekos, with COSAS, with YCW, with COSATU. So I came through the mill to help, to bring our youth in line with, and obviously today, the youth can benefit from where we are at unification, because if you take the likes of Baikayantini, Temba, these guys, what's his name now, the cricket captain, you talk about Sia Kolisi, these are the guys that now makes millions of rands through their involvement in sport. So the doors of getting involved into sport is now open. The playing field is level. But there is also other social matters that comes in, which hinders the youth to enhance that sort of position. But yes, I love what I'm doing. I'm passionate about sports and youth development, and I'm going to schools around the metro. One of them is Kwanatola Primary School, and the other one is Alpha Primary School, where I do athletics coaching.
Yes, you're quite right, Mr. Derek. One of our latest heroes in South Africa, who was the captain of our cricket club, is Themba Mbavuma. And we're so proud. These guys have managed to host our flag sky high throughout the world, you know. And these are the things that we're talking about. And recently we saw another one, Akani Simbine, breaking his own record. You know, we're talking of the sprinter in South Africa that people are beginning to say, did we have the word sprinter in what is that fellow from Jamaica, Bolton, Bolt. People are saying, let's look at this guy. Let's say people are saying, let's look at Akani. He's young and he's going very far. But you see, Mr. Derek, if this was karate, given all what we have done in trying to better the South African youth, the South African black people, I would say right now you have the black belt because you've done so much really in the direction to empower our youth in South Africa. Let's go back to Tatumbona. And like we had said earlier on, you had an opportunity to create your own company, opportunity to knock at the Department of Sport. Because of what we have accumulated, your wisdom in the sport, you've decided to say, no, I will use this to assist the black youth in Gqeberha and those that are closer to Gqeberha. Tell the viewers, what prompted you to do this, to be so not selfish, because people are selfish these days. What prompted you to be selfless and say, I will dedicate the remaining days of my life in assisting the black youth in South Africa? Mr. Vuyane, tell the viewers of Mpumakapa TV, why did you do this?
Thank you very much, Lennox, and greetings to my colleague, Derek. I don't want to waste time in actually repeating what Derek had actually alluded to. But firstly, let me appreciate Amaqhawe Ethu Foundation for conducting these interviews, because many people, when they talk of Amaqhawe, they think of those who actually were in the forefront of the struggle. If I had time, I would actually define what my own understanding of what Iqhawe and Iqhawekazi mean.
You have time, sir.
Thank you very much. Before commencing with what I'm invited to engage on the subject, let me commence with definition of what Iqhawe means for me. Iqhawe is somebody, apart from our leaders, Nelson Mandela, Tatu Tambo Mbeki, you name them, are those people, in my view, who are actually contributing immensely in developing our people in the townships, in the villages out there. If you look at me, I'm wearing a badge of Victoria's Rugby Union. I'm not going to talk about myself. Allow me to talk about what I'm doing here in Nelson Mandela. It's not me, it's us as rugby veterans, Lennox, of Nelson Mandela Bay, within the Nelson Mandela Bay jurisdiction, who actually came together in 2013. That was the 9th of August, 2013. When we met as these rugby veterans, we asked ourselves a question. 9th of August, remember, is the date, is the Wednesday. Remember, that is the date in 1956 when our women marched to Pretoria to say to straight on. I'm just passing that one. But we ask ourselves as rap veterans, when we talk of veterans, I'm talking about the late Fair Sobiko. I'm talking about Yinsameke. I'm talking about Butemba Ludwaba, who are ill today. I'm talking about Butobile Dunzwa, who are also aging as we speak today. Those are rugby. Lucky Mange is amongst those. I'm standing here to actually try and talk about them because, in my view, those are unsung heroes of our revolution. We're basking in the sun. There's in the M7 wezandla zabo today. Moving forward, what did we do? What the question that we asked ourselves was, what contribution should we make as rugby veterans in Nelson Mandela Bay? Acknowledging the fact that sizalwa ngomama. Now, having done that, we said to ourselves, the township schools where we are coming from, where we have been educated as these black people, we said, the township schools, I'm talking about rugby. Allow me to focus on rugby. And don't want to move on to talk about other sporting companies. Yes. So we said, what is it that we must do? We developed what is coined as Township Junior Rugby Development Program in honor of those women who were in the forefront of our struggle. The question arises, how do we do this? We said, all the boys who are in formal schools cannot participate in this program because they are advantaged. My son, not going to talk about him, and actually won all EP colors from under 12, under 13, you name them. But we said, let's focus as these rugby veterans on those whom we know that are struggling out there without any support. These are sons of the domestic workers. These are sons of the unemployed. So we said, what do we do? As we started focusing on developing these youngsters. From age of 13, under 13, under 15, under 16. Those are age groups that we actually focus on, that we currently focusing on. Moved around looking for resources, but unfortunately it's hard out there. Perhaps your interview is going to assist us in mobilizing those resources for people with the money. We went through, we divided Nelson Mandela region into 10 zones. One zone is New Brighton. All the under 13s of New Brighton. We moved on, we said New Brighton, Kwazakele, Zwide, Motherwell, Shoda Costin, Ewoma, Rosedale Langa, Kwanobutle, Motherwell, a number of these. There are 10 of those zones. I don't want to waste time in mentioning all of them. But if you look at what I'm just alluding to, we're non-racial. My friend is reminding me, Derek, of Raymond Uren, who was one of those who were stalwarts in non-racial sport. So we said, let us focus in uniting the children of our area. We went on and on and on and on, playing up until we actually got attacked by COVID-19. That COVID-19, from 2014 to 2019, 2019 was bad for COVID-19. Sakonda, okay, what else must we do? We changed strategy to say, let us celebrate June month, because June month is very rare for people to celebrate this month. We said we're going to celebrate it year after year after year after year. But allow me quickly, Lennox, to say what have we achieved thus far, because it's important for me to use the time that I am having here. What have we achieved thus far? these boys, ours were to actually ensure that these boys play rugby, because despite the fact that they're not coming from the formal schools, they do have talent. That's main objective. Sport, as you know, that we are products of township schools. But unfortunately, if you go out weekends or Wednesdays, you'll find out more formal schools, Gray, Pearson, you name them. Where my son was actually studying at Pearson, we said this township junior rugby development program, coined as TGRDP, we shall actually not allow anyone from those advantaged schools. It will be only the boys from these disadvantaged schools. We went on and on and on and on. Let me come back to Amaqhawe Ethu Foundation. Under 13 trophy is named after the forgotten hero called Fanny Headbush, a hard tackling flank forward from Blues Rugby Football Club called Orientals. Akuseva kuthatha uFanny Headbush. Under 15 trophy is named after Ubutfeya Sobikwa. Under 16 trophy is named after Uyinsameke. Uyinsameke is one of those unsung heroes from Woma Township. He was the first person of the TGRDP, Lennox. Those are trophies that we have. We went on because we are a non-racial, we are also a non-racial institution. Another trophy is named after Desmond Kramer from Iwalabis, Desmond Kramer, one of the black sprinters.
I know. Oh, he could run.
Another trophy is named after Godfrey Thorne, Claude Doran. That's a prop forward from northern areas. Another trophy is named after Timothy Ngongi. Because we felt obliged to actually unite our people, to say all our people must actually celebrate, must be celebrated. Those are, if you look at our badge, Lennox, our badge is a special, is a badge of a special type. It's okay. Peter Mkata. Getting tackled by people about Tome.
Okay. I'm sorry about this. We are going to continue. I'm told we must pay the rent. Let's just take our quick break, and then we'll come back and we'll continue where we have left. And Mr. Derek, as we are going for our break, please think around the importance of the sport in the youth of South Africa. After this, please, let's go for our short break. I thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, dear viewers, for once again allowing us into your sitting rooms. Before we go to our break, we were chatting with Mr. Limba, and he said so many things that I feel it will be so unfair or unjustified for us not to revisit them. Among other things that she mentioned, he invoked the names of our pioneers of the non-racial sport. He invoked the names of our pathfinders of our non-racial sport, and so many that, yes, at some point it is very critical that we honor them in the most befitting way. The least that we can do as Amaqhawe Ethu, in collaboration with Mpuma Kapa, is to invite the minister that I know is very, very proactive, and that is the Minister of Sports, Culture, and let me read his portfolio very well. The Minister of Sports, Arts and Culture, yes, Sports, Arts and Culture, that is Mr. Gayton McKinsey. We are going to have to find a way to invite this minister to have what we call a dialogue with the sports people in Quebec, I know he has what it matter in terms of financial support and injection. He does not shy away from assisting projects like this. We will invite him. We will invite you to talk to him. I will allow you, Mr. Limba, to wind up your point because you were still on the platform when we went for break.
Thank you very much, Mr. Class, viewers at home as well. Winding up my point, I just wanted to indicate that who are the pillars? Who are the pillars of the TJRDP program? All those people that I've mentioned constitute what is known as TJRDP families. Who are other people who are supportive of this program? The schools, the Department of Sport, Arts and Culture had supported us, and we're still forging partnership to continue with it. You know, Lennox, if you were at Wilson Stadium last on the June 16th, you might have seen our partnership with march and drill squads, where young ladies, where young boys that were marched all the way from Nangoza Jebe, used to be known as Centenary Hall, going up Maduga Street towards Makanda to Wilson Stadium. Those are the pillars of this program. Although we don't have money, but we managed to host a beautiful program. Allow me to quickly nudge into achievements of this program. You might have seen a young boy called Batobele Kekani. He's a robust flank forward in junior Springbok. That boy is coming from Sweden. He's part Gomusi Okula Ubatobele Kekani. There's a boy called Sibabalo Boy. That boy is also from Sweden. Sweden zone. I've told you about the zones that are actually constituting this TJRDP. Those are the achievements that we can brag about. Moving on to those achievements. Now, we talk now of a number of some of these young fellows have actually acquired bursaries to go and study in formal schools where their parents could not afford to send them to them. Those boys are there. We managed to train through EPWP funding from DISREC as well. We managed to train our young boys, our coaches, our referees, for them to acquire level 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Those are the achievements that we can actually brag about in terms, let alone driving our kids away from crime zones. So those are the achievements that we can brag about, Lennox. Let me allow my colleagues so that I don't steal much of your time. Thank you, Lennox.
Okay. No, thank you very much, Mr. Limba. Now, Mr. Derek, there is much talked national dialogue that is being planned in South Africa. Part of what it intends to achieve is to try and get to each and every sector of our society to say how they would love to see these various sectors being supported. I will urge you to find the people responsible for this in your area and be part of this, because it will be very unfortunate for the sporting fraternity to be left behind when this national dialogue starts to kick in, because I'm sure they will require your inputs into the kind of South Africa that you want to see tomorrow. Something beyond what happened during Freedom Charter. Because the Freedom Charter interaction, it only involved the politicians. Now the difference with this one, everyone in South Africa is going to be represented, not only politicians. I really urge the sporting fraternity to be part of this movement, not to be left behind. Now, Tatu Derek, please indulge us. To the youth out there listening to this program, try and tell us what is it that you think it's so important for them to leave what they are doing, no matter what they are doing, to be part of these various sporting codes that you are talking about. What is their immediate benefit if they leave crime, if they leave hanging around with their friends doing nothing, to come and join these sporting codes you are talking about? What is their immediate benefit, Mr. Derek?
Yes, we are very much in a catch-22 situation when it comes to, bringing sport back into our communities, bringing back sport into our schools, more especially our township schools and our northern area schools. I acknowledge the work that rugby is doing on Youth Day. I sincerely apologize. I didn't know that they had this wonderful program at the Wilson Stadium. Otherwise, I would have taken myself there. But last year, we started a movement to revive athletics, or not last year, the year before that, to revive athletics at primary school level, and more especially at Galvindale Track. We brought last year, under the banner of the Tennyson Mackay Athletics Revival Program, we brought about 15 schools together, 8 from the township and about 9 schools from the northern areas. This brought about over 600 kids for 2 athletics meetings at the Galvindale Track. And that was a very successful program. That is to also to acknowledge the work that Tennyson Mackay did. And as you know, that Tennyson Mackay was not only involved in athletics, he was involved in soccer, he was involved in rugby, he was involved in boxing. And we thought that, look, we must do something to honor Mr. Mackay, because Mr. Mackay passed on during COVID, and we never had a good opportunity to celebrate his life. So this year we had the second Tennyson Mackay event that brought 25 schools together, almost a 30% increase from last year. So this is the kind of initiatives that we are driving to create opportunities for kids to come on board and to showcase their athletics talent. Maybe from that program we can harness people like the Akani Sambinis, the Desmond Zibis, the Tando Kholashes, the McLeans. So from this program, it is our objective to unearth new talent. But the challenges we have, just to get to the Galvindale Track, you have to book the track, and it costs over 800 Rand per hour just to book the track. So just for us to get 600 kids at the Galvindale Track, it means that we've got to look around and scout around for funding. This year and last year, we didn't get funding from nowhere. The same like what my friend just earlier mentioned, Bona Limba. But we don't let these obstacles hinder us. We take the bull by the horn and we go for it. This year, we started the Raymond Uren Athletics meeting, also to honor Raymond Uren. And because of that, we had the opportunity to bring Barry Hendricks here, that is the president of the South African Olympic Committee. So we are making efforts to bring to take the sport to the people, but also to bring the kids, the youngsters, into the sport with limited cost, because once you have the cost factor in front of the children, you're starting to chase them away. So by doing what we have done, this mass participation program, we're hoping to involve the Department DESREC. We're hoping to get the Department of Education and Training involved. And we're hoping to get the Eastern Province Athletics Union also to come on board. and to invest into the program so that we can bring athletics back to the kids. You know, there's a track, athletics track in Motherwell. The track has not been utilized. We want to go to Motherwell to take athletics there. I'm in conversation with schools and teachers in the Motherwell area that we are going to start that athletics track up. But we cannot go there until the municipality sort out the problem that they have. There's no electricity. The infrastructure has been damaged. So we're hoping that is going to take place. So I'm starting conversations with a multitude of people in order to bring them on board and to do exactly what we want to do, is to take the sport back to the community, because the youngsters can benefit from it. The youngsters can benefit in a big way because sport opens up the doors for you. Sport can take you to overseas. Sport can give you an opportunity to start a career. I mean, my career basically has been blossomed by sport, from trade union movement, from student uprisings, from the Pepco days when we had at the Centenary Hall the anti-boycott, the product boycotts, the stayaways. Sport has given me the other opportunity to channel my expertise into the direction to bring kids involved and even to give them in the careers. I can tell you one of my top students, Ernie Alexander, now today occupies a high-profile job in Johannesburg. Because of sport, I advised him to go to UPE at the time, before UPE was unified. I advised him to go to UPE. He got a sports scholarship, and today is at the head of a big company. And there's many others. Shane Adams, Desmond Zibi is still doing wonderful work as a top athlete, and is earning money because of his involvement in sport, coming from Golden Eagles, the rough days of the Golden Eagles era. Desmond Zibi today is #1 in his age category in the country, over 60s. So sport can give you an income. It can reconstruct your life. It can give you the freedom to go overseas, to see other people, to mix with the top athletes, to become an Olympian, and to go to the Olympics.
Well, Mr. Derek, you invoked the name of Mr. Tennyson McKay. You know, Amaqhawe to regard the old man as one of our heroes. At some point, we commemorated the anniversary of the Defiance campaign. And together with the rest of other heroes and heroines of our struggle, he was awarded a shield as an honor to say thank you by Amaqhawe Ethu Foundation. Now, colleagues, Amaqhawe Ethu Foundation in Mpuma Kapa has connected you so that you know the right hand is doing this and the left hand is doing that. We will urge going forward, please, don't cut this connection, because together you can go all the way. And from our side, we commit as Mpuma Kapa and Amaqhawe. We will author a letter to Minister Gayton McKinsey and say, Gayton McKinsey, please come and see this wonder. It's even very painful when you are confronted with some of these challenges that we are talking about. You cannot even secure the track because you don't have 800 rand. And I'm sure this will be a change to some of the people who are going to start knocking at their doors. It is very important. Now, the question I would really like to know, in spite of these pitfalls, you have referenced, both of you, the sponsor and all that stuff. The people that are intended to benefit from your programs, what is their reception? because Mr. Limba was just telling us Wilson Stadium was packed, which is very, very promising. Now, beyond us filling up the stadium, what is the general reception of these youngsters who are trying to recruit? I will give you, Mr. Limba, an opportunity to respond. I'll come to you, Derek.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Lennox. You have promised us to invite Minister of Sport to come here. We'd really love to actually talk to him as well as the TGRTB. Lennox, the money, the department that is actually getting little budget is none other than the Department of Sport, Arts and Culture, provincially and nationally. But there are resources that you can actually unlock them there in the department. I'll cite one. There's a program called Siyadlala. All the minister requires to do is to actually unlock or remove all those red tapes. Because the programs that were involved in with Derek is actually nothing else but Siyadlala, developing our kids from where they are. So the minister maybe will be able to actually compel his bureaucrats to think outside the box in ensuring that the money that is there is available. Going on, Lennox, to what you have just alluded to in terms of the dialogue that is actually being proposed, that will be convened very soon by our government. We are ready as possible to come on board to get in there for us to present our case. Presenting our case is not to talk about ourselves, is to ensure that people benefit from the dialogue. Because tell me, what is it that is actually ravaging our society? Triple challenges of poverty, unemployment, and inequality. Those are triple challenges that are actually ravaging our society. I have not yet mentioned what? The crime. I'm just talking about these triple challenges. If that amount of money, if the money can be availed in ensuring that our boys, our girls are actually developed, undoubtedly, some of these youngsters may actually get big contracts. I've just alluded to in terms of what we've achieved thus far. Some of our young boys have been invited to Natal Sharks, to Lions Sharks, to Lions franchise, to Blue Bulls franchise. These are youngsters. Asna Mona, Lennox, Yabakula Bandwan. Once they get such opportunity, but the point I'm trying to illustrate is the resources are the bone of contention in terms of developing our kids. But private sector, we call upon private to come on board because sport will never be supported only by government only. Private sector should also come on board in ensuring that our kids are developed. Thank you.
Before I go to, because we are running out of time, before I go to my other guest, Derek, is there any parting note you want to say quickly from your side? Because I'm not coming back to you. Whilst doing that, you can greet the viewers.
The parting note that...
Yes, Lennox, on Saturday was one of the big events coming up in Nelson Mandela Bay. It's the Nelson Mandela Bay half marathon, incorporating the South African half marathon interprovincial championships. And yes, there's going to be fireworks on the beachfront over half marathon. Some Olympians will be here. Elroy Gallant will be there. Desmond Ziv is running. One of the top ladies is running of PE. I think Gerda Steyn will also be coming. I'm not so sure. But that's the big event coming up. And then on the 5th of July, we're starting cross-country in PE. And that is a mass participation program that normally attracts about over 600 kids on a Saturday morning. So for 3 Saturday mornings, the 5th, the 12th, and the 19th of July, there will be cross country across the metro. So people must just take note about that. That is organized by the Eastern Province Athletics Union.
I thank you. Was that your parting note? Is there any other thing you want to say bye-bye with to our viewers?
Well, they must just hang in there, and they must follow us. They can follow my club on the Facebook page, Atlantic Aces, and they can also watch what I'm doing. I'm not doing it for myself. I'm doing it to enrich youngsters, and I'm doing it to help youngsters make the right decisions and to stay out of drugs, stay out of alcohol, stay away from early teenage pregnancy, and just come back into sport and enjoy life in a normal way.
Thank you very much. To you, Mr. Limba, any parting notes?
The parting note, Lennox, is 2026 is the 50th anniversary of June 16. Those festivities will be held at Wilson Stadium. We really applaud our society which have been supporting us through and through. We would like people to come on board in ensuring that June 50th anniversary of June 16 is actually a great success. Let me step off to thank you, sir, and say your work is not left unrecognized by sports people. We really appreciate what you're doing for our society. Thank you, sir.
I thank you both, to you, my special guest. Dear colleagues, sport, we cannot overemphasize or overstate the significance of the sports in the lives of our people. You know, it's one of those catalysts that can play a role in ramping our people from the cycle of poverty. Each and every country has what is called the cultural goals. Those goals are those aspirations that each and every member of the society is encouraged to aspire, is encouraged to achieve. And you can achieve that through sport. And sport is one of the, what you can call or term, prescribed means of achieving our goals. You don't go out and rob the bank to have a better life. On that note, we have come to the end of our programs. Let's meet again next week, same time, same channel, and a very, very good thank you to both of our guests, Utate Ulimba, Notate Ohosh. A good night.